Hey everybody, I'm Garcia, and today we're going to be managing our resources while hopping across the galaxy in Space Park. In this game, the players are going to be taking very quick actions, moving rockets around a board, gathering resources, drawing more cards, spending those resources on those cards in order to build them, and race to a number of victory points. Once someone gets to that number, game's over, and whoever's got the most is going to be the winner of the game. It's a very straightforward game, a fairly short one. Let me give you a look at how it all works together. We'll come on back after that, and I'll tell you what I think of this little game. So here's what the game might look like set up and ready to begin. The board has been randomized, the rockets placed on their starting locations no matter where they ended up, and each player is given a crystal, one of these, and a badge card. So we've got 1, 2, 3 players in this case. All of the tokens put in their corresponding places, the deck shuffled, and 3 more badges revealed. And you are ready to begin. So the objective of the game is for the players to travel around these different locations using these rockets, gather XP either from these cards or from these tokens, and race to 20 victory points. Once someone has 20 XP, game's going to be over at the end of that round, and we see who's got the most. So on your turn, you are very simply going to pick a location where there is a rocket, take the action of that location, and then move the rocket clockwise to the next empty space. So for example, if I am the start player, and I would have the start player marker denoting so there, then I might choose this rocket here, do the action. At the Lunar Woods, I would take one of these purpley gems, and then I would pick up that rocket. It cannot go here because it's occupied. It would go there. And then it would be the next player's go, where they might go to Cosmic Canyon. Take 2 of these, and then move the rocket to the next spot. Again, only rockets block locations, not the scout over here. I'll talk about him in just 1 second. And so, this is going to continue with you usually having 3 options, sometimes more than that. And I'll explain why. So first, let me run you through what the different locations do so you have an understanding of how that all comes together. Lunar Woods, you get these gems. Celestial Seas, you get these gems. In the Cosmic Canyon, you get these gems. Over here at the Fusion Falls, you can turn in one of these gems for a victory point token. Over here at the Astral Arcade, when you take that action, you are going to take the controller, you are going to take the scout robot and move it to wherever any place you want, but it cannot stay where it was. So I might put it there, for example. And you are going to get one of these fast travel tokens. I'll talk about that in 1 sec. Over here at Starlight Station, you are going to get new cards. You would draw one from the top of the deck, keep it if you like it. If not, switch it with one of these and take that into your hand, leaving the one you drew in its place. So now you've got a new card. Up here at Outpost 13 is where you'll actually build the cards that you've been drawing. You are going to pay the resources listed at the top. You are going to get a number of victory points and possibly a special action or a bonus scoring action. Put that in front of you, you are done. So that is all the locations. The scout, this little robot here, wherever you send him, as long as you are the one controlling this controller, and it'll remind you on the back, by the way, when anyone takes the action where scout is, you are going to either get another fast travel token or one of these gems here. What are the fast travel tokens? Well, before you take your turn, you may cash in 1 or more fast travel tokens to move rockets along the same path you normally would. So for example, let's say I really want to take this Starlight Station action. I need more cards. I could cash in one of those, take this rocket, move it along, and then take that action, and at the end of my activation, move it as I normally would to the next empty space. Be aware that the same thing would have worked if I had chosen to do it with this rocket here, because moving this along means it cannot stop there, it goes there. I would activate it, take a card, and then move it along. So, you are going to hang on to this until someone goes and takes the action on the Astral Arcade itself, in which case they remove the controller from you, they take it, they get a fast travel token and must move Scout to another location. That's basically it. As I said, you are trying to get to 20 victory points, and you will do that mainly from the cards here that have a few different powers, such as this one, for instance, says worth +1 XP for each other purple badge earned. That's the symbol down here in the corner. And you've got some that are going to give you an ability that's changed from what you normally do, such as this one, worth 4 victory points, and says after taking its main action, you may convert one of these into one of the green ones at Fusion Falls. And so if you go to Fusion Falls, you can spend one of them for an XP and then one of them for a green gem. That changes that location for you and for you alone. This one, 5 XP, and it says you gain an additional gem at Cosmic Canyon. For you, this action is not 2 of these, it is 3 of them. And as I said, you'll have quite a few of these that give you different abilities and different actions. That's basically all there is to it. You now know how to play Space Park. So let's go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. And that is Space Park. So let's talk about it. I'm going to start with thematic ties here. Is the theme original? Is it well implemented? That sort of thing. I do like the theme here. I like this idea of sort of galaxy hopping on the little rockets. That's cool. And I think it works pretty well. The idea that you're jumping around, gathering minerals and things, going and finding these badges, landing on the planet with the scout robot and sending him off to do some work for you. So the theme I do enjoy. I think it's very cute and very well implemented. The aesthetics, component quality, congruent artwork with the quality of it all. I like the quality here quite a bit. The game looks, for one thing, stunning. I think this artwork is fantastic. I really do. Graphic design, insanely good as well. Everything's really clean, very well done. But that is not to say that it's not without issue entirely. For one thing, I don't like the scout figure being a standee when you've got these 3 gorgeous rockets sitting on the board. I wish that they would have gone ahead and made the only other figure that sits on the board a plastic figure as well. This one just clashes with the 3 rockets being the only other 3D pieces in the game. So I don't like that. I also found the rule book here to be slightly less clear than I was hoping for. The main location where you visit Scout here and send him off was just a little tiny bit confusing. There was a slight contradiction, at least it read that way to me, as to when you went there, did you get the controller, move him, and get that fast travel? Or did you just pick one of those 2 things? It was a little bit tricky to understand. So again, not without flaws, the aesthetics, but really pretty good. So I'm very happy with that. Replayability. Does the game give you interesting new things to discover from session to session? I would say replayability is somewhere in the middle, to be honest. You know, it's got the locations are extremely basic, so it's a really simple game. It's a short game. I'll talk about that in a second, but it is a very simple one. But the badges are meant to sort of make up for that by giving you varied, concepts along the way, right? So changing the board and the powers for you so that you feel like you're doing something different than the other players. And that works to a certain degree, but as far as the replayability being particularly deep, I don't think it's really there. I think after you've played this game a few times, let's call them 5 times, 8 times, you've seen everything. You've definitely at that point run out the game's replayability, and it's really just up to how much are you enjoying looking at the artwork, how much do you find the little puzzles perhaps engaging. Replayability is not driven here by all the things you've yet to discover, if that makes sense. Okay, there's a lot of games like that where you still have not seen specific combinations and so forth. This game is not gonna, the replayability, if you'll find it there, will not come from that. Game length, is it interesting the whole time? Does it get repetitive, anything like that? Game's about 30 minutes or so, and the turns are so quick that I think it's a good game length, because they are very simple and basic turns, for one thing, especially at the beginning of the game, where you are going to grab a gem, move a rocket. That's your whole turn. You might have a few turns like that in a row. But they are so quick that you also don't have very much downtime to worry about the fact that you didn't get to do much on your last turn, because while you're halfway through that sentence, take a turn already. You know, it's your go. So I like that. And I like the idea of racing to 20 points, of trying to get little combinations going, of making the locations better for you, and so forth. Okay? So there is that. I'm happy with the game length. Ease of play. Is the game fiddly? Are there any extraneous rules, anything like that? The main thing that I found a little bit tricky at first was understanding, like I said, the scout robot here. I kept waffling back and forth on whether this was a location that I was content with, that I thought was worthwhile. All the other places make sense, right? Cash in tokens for victory points, cool. Gather all the tokens, fine, all the gems, and then obviously draw more cards, spend gems to buy cards. All of those things are fine. They all make sense. They're all necessary for the very few choices and sort of decisions that are in this game. The scout idea, I definitely like the fast travel tokens. You need those to manipulate the game. Sending him out there somewhere, and then when someone goes there, you get a little bonus thing. I don't know. This seems a little less elegant, I'll say, than the rest of the game. I'm not sure if there would have been an alternate way of doing something like this that would have perhaps been a little more seamless. But it's not as it's not too big a part of the pie here that I find it to be particularly problematic. I'm just saying it's a little less, again, elegant than I would like it to be dealing with the scout. And then lastly, tactics and strategy. Is it too lucky? Is it balanced? Are there interesting choices? I think it's a highly tactical game. Of course, you are reacting to everything that's going on your turn. You might as well, if you're playing with more than, 2 players, you might as well not even worry about where the rockets are before your turn. Because by the time you are up, they might be in wildly different places, and you will not be able to affect that unless you have those travel passes, right? So there's very little, there's really not a ton of planning ahead here that you can truly manipulate. You can hope to set yourself up for the future, but that future might be next turn. The rocket might be where you need it to be, or it might be 2 turns down the road where you have to just do something else until the situation is right for you, So that can be frustrating, and I in fact did have players that were a little bit frustrated by that, by feeling like the manipulation options weren't there as much as they wanted, I guess. Overall, though, I find the game style and the game depth to match the game length, and it all comes together in a very attractive, if slight, package. I do like the game. I found it to be gorgeous. I found it to be, again, just really quick turns, and while it's not a revolutionary game, while there are a lot of things that ultimately play out a less important role than you would think. Things like, the board being modular. Didn't seem to matter that much, not really. Those things, which are nice ideas, might not be as impactful as I thought they would be, but it does not diminish the fact that it's a 30-minute resource management game with super quick turns and a fun, vibrant sort of outlook on everything. I thought it was a well-done game. So, I would say this is yet another game from Keymaster, the company publishing it, that does what they do very well. They're quick games, they are not necessarily revolutionary, and sometimes they'll do things you've perhaps seen before, but they always do it with gorgeous artwork and just a splash of style. So kudos to them. This one's going to get a seal of approval from me. I certainly would say check it out if you're okay with a lighter game that deals with some of these things, and I think you're going to have a good time. Just go into it knowing it's just 30 minutes of fairly light fun. So, again, Space Park, thanks for checking this out with me. I'm Z Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.